Hello and welcome to Learning Excel 2013. My name is Mike Henry and this is the 10th video from Tutorial 4. In this video we're going to learn about the combination chart. We're going to see how we can take two different kinds of charts and combine them. And then we're going to format the different parts and components to this chart. We've been building a really nice overview sheet here. We can see our facts and figures about here. We can see our estimated production and things about production. We've got our projected revenues and expenses, our business expenses, and our cash flow. But right here, we're missing a nice chart. And this chart's going to be a unique chart. It's going to be called a combination chart. What it's going to do is it's going to show two different pieces of data on this chart, and it's going to show the relationships between those datas. So when we look at our projected cash flow here, you can see how many cases we're planning to produce over the next 10 years. So I block those out, and then the next piece that I want in here is net income. So I'm going to graph those against my net income over the 10 years. So with this, I come up and go to my insert and get recommended charts. Now here I'm going to deviate a little. I'm going to come to all charts and go right here for my combo chart. So I'm getting a combination chart. I'm going to pick this style right here, custom combination, so I can control what I want things to look like. And then I am going to change my cases produced to be a line chart. I prefer that one to be actually my line, and that's going to be my secondary axis. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my net income my primary, and that's going to be a clustered column. So you can see that I've got this chart that's being built here, right here. Let's hit OK right now. We've got our chart, and before I go any further, I'm going to move this right into our spot overview, and then we have our chart up here, and we got to obviously move this down into place, and we're going to put the corner right here in F45. And we'll drop this piece right here into M58 right there. Drop that right in place. So now we've got a nice chart here that's going well. Now, just like we've been doing with all of our charts and in the past, we'll drop in our title here, which is going to be our projected sales, or excuse me, sales projections. So I put in here, and this is going to be my sales projection, and with that sales projection I also can come up here and change that, and we'll put the blue color in there. And you go, well, that's things that we've been doing all along, and you go, well, let's do the other things that we know to make them look the same. So we'll immediately take our chart area here, and we'll drop in our fill, and we'll give that the same gold look that we've been giving all of these. Of course, our plot area, we'll immediately take our plot area and give that the same plot area of white that we've been doing with all of these. And we'll also drop in our grid lines here. So we'll come to grid lines and drop in also our major verticals. So we've done all the things that we've been doing in the past here. Now, one of the things that we're going to do right now is we're going to look at this, and you can see right here I've got a legend down here. Now I have some controls here. I can take my legend, and since I'm clicked on it, I can just hit delete and remove that legend. If for some reason I actually wanted the legend back, I can come back in here and put my legend back in place. And if I do that, you can see I can pick where I want that, so I could always put that right back on the bottom. But in this case, I truly do not want a legend, so I'm going to remove my legend. And what I'm going to do instead is I am going to say what this side and this side are actually doing here. And so right here I'm going to go under my axis titles, and I'm going to put my titles in place. Okay. So right here you can see I'm going to click onto this, and this one here is going to be my net income. So I put in here net income, and you can see my title goes right in place. And this one over here is going to be cases sold. So I put in here cases sold. And you can see one is facing one way, the other is facing the other way. So to make these look more appropriate, we're going to make some quick changes here. Now, like we learned before, we can double click anything and get into what we want to do here. So right here with net income, I just double click that, and you can see I brought up the ability to format there. And you'll notice here I can format title options, or I can format how the text is going to look. And in this case, I'm going to change the text, and I'm going to change the look of this text to have that same blue, and they wanted a darker 25 on here. So you can see I've changed that text there. Now over here I have cases sold, and I'm going to change first the color of that. They wanted us to pick the gold, and they wanted a gold 45, so we've changed that. But one of the things you can see with this is they're both facing this way, and we're going to change how that looks a little bit. So I'm going to come back here to my options here, and right here you can see where I get into alignments, and right here my direction is rotated here at 270 degrees, so it reads this way. I'm going to rotate 90 degrees, and you can see it's turned back in. Now this was something they wanted us to do in the book, and it gives you a chance to see how to rotate that. One of the other things that they asked us to do is on this scale right here, so I'm going to double click this. You can see when I bring this up, we're going to change the minimum here, and the book has asked us to actually give us a negative minimum, so I put in a negative, and they wanted a negative 4,000. They also wanted us to change the majors to 2,000, which I just did there, and you can see we get a different scale for this. So it's giving us a better look and a better feel. All those things that we can change about things, we can do that. So I could come into here and I could change the gap, and we'll make this the same gap as all the others. We'll give that a 150 gap. If I want to take the line and change the line, I can go in there and change how that line looks. I have all kinds of different styles that would go in here. Now remember, if I change a style, you can see that that's going to change my chart and change the background color. So I need to be aware, if I do make a change, I want to make those style changes first and then go back and make the other changes as I go. So that was a combination chart that we have here. You can see this data and this data have two different scales, and they're working in conjunction, but it's overlaid on top. The more cases I sell, the more net income I make. So in this video we looked at combining two different styles of charts, and in this case we took a line chart and we took a clustered column chart. Now we could have combined other different charts there. Now the real goal here is to show how these two pieces of data react as one changes, the other changes. And the reason that we really want to do it as a combination chart is that we maybe want one scale to be different from another scale. So in this case our net incomes were up in the 700,000 range for a maximum, where the cases sold were only up to a 10,000 maximum. So it lets us compare these two data on the same chart.